Hello and welcome everybody for another episode of Think Big and Be Inspired. Please tell us where you're tuning in from. And today, of course, we have a very special guest. She's an expert in public speaking. She is an author. She has big experience also in photography, years of experience in photography. Of course, she has 200 plus thousand followers on LinkedIn. Everybody loves Rachel, as I say, and trusts Rachel. So let's welcome Rachel Beck. Rachel, how are you doing?
Thank you so much, Amar, for having me. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for joining me and coming in on the show. Very happy to have you, and I hope everything's good at your side.
Yeah, it's going good. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you okay, of course. Rachel, I know that you studied psychology for a while, and tell us how this helped you to be a great communicator and a true influencer. I can say influencer that has really a great impact on people on LinkedIn, and you care about people mental health. Tell us how studying psychology helped you in that.
I was really lucky because I minored in psychology and I minored in gender studies, which covered a lot of different areas. So gender studies, I studied law, I studied sociology, I absolutely love studying law classes too. The psychology is a deep passion of mine. It always has been. I have psychologists in the family. But I feel like if you don't understand yourself, if you don't understand how you operate mentally, so that there was, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating field. And it's something that when I retire, I will still continue to study psychology. Whether if I go back for a master's, or I want to go back and do it for fun. I'm passionate about mental health. It is a deep, and I will always use my voice to support the mental health community because I'm part of the mental health community.
That's great, of course, and mental health is. I think that people started to understand how important it is during COVID. Yeah, the idea of mental health and protecting your health and being mental conscious and all that. It boomed, I think, in COVID when people were stranded and staying at home and all that. I think people started to talk about it more.
Yeah, I had a psychologist on the show I met. He said that this year mental health issues in this country are up 800%. That's a huge.
Wow.
We've had him on the show twice. First time we were around like 700%, and now mental health issues in the U.S. are up 800%. So yeah, I can't be silent on this topic. I ask people to be empathetic people. It's not easy for people to get out and to share their story and to talk about it. And what they need right now is to not feel alone and to feel that they have a community that loves and supports them.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of LinkedIn here, the community, the people, how they care about each other and talk to each other because and I feel it's like therapy for people to get and talk and feel that everything is all right and feel that everybody's suffering from what happened, but we have to stay positive.
Yeah, and it's really important right now. You and I were talking before we went live how many people are hurting now, whether it's financial loss, whether they
Yes.
lost loved ones, whether they lost their jobs. And it's why we plead for people to be empathetic and kind because we know what's going on behind the stories. And so we're trying to create that path. Social media is a responsibility. You're either going to use it for good or you're going to use it for bad. You and I are choosing a path of using it for good. And that's a choice that we make every single day.
That's true. That's true. We have some people coming in, and Alok Kumar. It's good to see Rachel live.
Nice to see you.
Cody Boss, great story, and he says, "Wow, you have a great passion for mental health." Yes,
You. Yes.
you. And Vereen Nadim also, she studied psychology, and she's amazing. She has LinkedIn to win it. She brings a lot of positivity to LinkedIn. She's
Nice.
sending her regards.
She's my sister.
She's amazing. Yeah. Tell me about your journey in photography. I know you had 8 year run on photography, and tell us how you developed this passion, and why did you suddenly decide to retire from photography?
I'll tell you the true story, Evan. Photography came because I had just lost a child. Okay. I was pregnant. I had a miscarriage and I was, taking some time to heal and recover from that. And I was sitting by the beach with a family member. And
Yeah,
photography is something that I had always done as a hobby and I love it. And he said to me, "Why aren't you doing this for a living? Like, if this is something that you love, why aren't you doing this for a living?" And so I ended up, going back from that trip. I started my company. I ran it for 10 years. I've worked, I did work in India. I've done work all over the US. The one thing I also love about photography, it gave me the ability to give back. So I got to
yeah,
volunteer with Humane Society, American Diabetes Association, with the military, working with women in shelters. And it is a deep passion of mine. I was able to connect with people on such a different level. I've walked in places in this world that most people wouldn't want to, that have never stepped into. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I told the
yeah.
real stories. I told the stories of human trafficking. I took photos of severe poverty. I was very clear to not to use my photography to do a message, and then I exhibited all over the country. I love photography now. I still do it as a hobby.
That's great. So you had like exhibitions of on photography and all. That's really nice. I'm really excited to see this one day part of your work on photography.
Oh, I definitely have to share some
Yeah,
photos. Yeah, yeah. I actually ironically just closed my website like a couple months back, because people were still reaching out. So I had to say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. But it gives you a chance. And now what I do is when people ask, for tips on photography, I'm okay to. And you're going to see a show coming up because I just filmed one this week with a fellow photographer. She's still a photographer, and we're going to be giving
great.
tips.
That's great. That's great. So you're still coaching on photography and using this experience to help people, which is really nice.
It tells a story. I mean,
Yeah,
it really tells a story. I've had a couple moments where I have two photos that changed my life forever because of who I met, because of the story behind the photo. That's
yeah.
what that's those stories were powerful. One of the women had been burned alive. She had been kicked out of her house by a family member, but had been burned. I met her. Someone had wanted me to introduce her. I was in a remote area of India, and I was there to be at the orphanage where I come from. And she didn't speak anything, so I laid on my stomach to take the photo. I'll text it to you. But I felt everything that she had been through. And
Yeah.
this place that I was at, they rescued people. They took people off the street and they brought them in. And that's why I was there to see it, take photos, learn about the facility. So that's what it was to me too. It's to tell the stories. The
Yes.
happiest person I ever met in my life, I met through taking a photo. This
Wow.
woman was she was blind, deaf, and she had leprosy. And I met her because I was there for a specific reason. I was visiting a leper colony. And I couldn't figure out how she could be so happy. And I asked the director, and I was taking her photo. And he said, "Rachel, she's very grateful." And he said, "What is she grateful for?" "She's blind, deaf, and leprosy." He said, "Rachel, she was living on the streets and we took her in." And here's a woman, and she had the most beautiful smile I've ever seen in my life. And when I go out and I give talks, I show her photo to end the talk to say, if this woman can find gratitude, if she can find happiness, so can you.
Yes. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Really lesson. And as they say, picture speaks more than thousand words. And it's amazing that you can find these people who teach you how to that you have a lot. that you have to be that you have to feel gratitude that you're walking, that you can see, that you can hear, that you have a job, that it's really a great lesson to see people who are suffering and still have gratitude. She has gratitude that she just moved and she has shelter and she has place and she's smiling. And I agree with you. That's a big lesson for all of us, I think. We have Sarika is coming from India. She's saying namaste.
Namaste.
She's also one of the big fans of the show. Thank you for joining, Sarika. And we have also a question. Are you willing to take a question?
Sure.
Yes. The question is, what's the strategy to deal with mental health?
What's the strategy? First of all, I tell people to reach out to the proper people, therapists, psychologists. And that would say is my number one strategy. Are you reaching out to the right people? Are you contacting the correct people?
I think, yeah, you're right. Are you contacting the right people? People who really care about you. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Definitely. Sometimes it needs like therapy and treatment. We have also Prasanta here is from India sending his regards.
Hello. Mm-hmm.
We have Vasanti Moodley. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the wishes. And we wish all Muslim community great wishes for Ramadan. Yeah.
Happy Ramadan to everybody that celebrates.
Yes, thank you. So if we go to your author, you're becoming an author on your first book, Finding Your Way, how did you find your passion in writing after, I think it was right after leaving photography, or when did you start thinking about writing a book?
This is an interesting story. So I finished my photography business, right? The reason I did that, you were asking me, is because I went back to university to finish my degree. So I ended that business, became, finished 1 year, done with my degree. And then I went to India and I met a friend there in the airport. It was very, you meet people where you're supposed to meet them. And we had traveled back and forth, met each other in India again when I was there. And we were talking one day. It was like 2 weeks after I graduated. I was tired. Exams were over. Senior year is tough, as everybody knows. And she said to me, Rachel, I feel really, really strong. I feel really deep that you have a story that needs to be told. I said, what are you talking about? I'm not an author. She's like, do me a favor. She's like, sit down, see what happens. It was actually a girlfriend of mine. I sat down the first day and I wrote, and I took like a month off between, graduating and then going back, working it. And so I sat down the first day and I wrote for 5 hours, and it kept happening every single day. So I started my book in August, finished in October, hired a publisher. So it really came from a conversation with one of my girlfriends. And then the book came out in 2018. I was speaking in different places. And then obviously flash forward, the pandemic happened. So when it's safe again to travel, I'll do that again.
That's great. Wow. So just a conversation, and you found yourself writing and following your passion. And tell me about the book, if we little about the book. What the title, Find Your Way? How did you get to this title, and what's it about? Like, if you want a small summary about the subject.
It's my true story. It's everything in my life that I planned never worked out. So I came up with the title, Finding Your Way When Life Changes Your Plans. That's what happened to me. Hello, Olga.
Hello, Olga.
None of it, how a woman can be, because none of it was lined up. Everything I thought, Ahmad, nothing happened as it was supposed to. So, and then I made a deep conscious choice when I was writing the book. Part of the proceeds of my book are going back to the orphanage in India that I'm associated with. So I never ever forget where my story began. I was born in Tamil Nadu, India, and that I don't forget that. So that's what my book's about. It's my true story. That's what it covers.
That's great. It makes me want to grab a copy of the book, really, and go through it.
Yeah,
Interesting story.
it's a hard
Yes.
story. It's not easy, and I covered some topics that were. Look, it was very difficult for me. I had to tear through some painful memories, and I had to revisit all of them when I was writing, because I write from my heart and soul. I think you kind of know that by seeing my writing every day.
Yes.
So I had to relive everything that I went through. And I'm like 100 page into writing the second book, and that I'm diving like
Yeah.
a little deeper.
Yes. I was going to ask you about this. Great, great. I am really excited to read this book. I'll make sure to grab a copy of it. Tell us also about public speaking. I know that you have been you have experience of 15 years in public speaking. What are the top skills to be a professional public speaker, and what's your advice to people to be a genuine public speaker? What do you think? What's the real catch in it? Like the top three, top five things to be a great public speaker?
You need to be professional. You
Yeah.
need. I've been doing this for 15 years, and when I talk on different. Hi, Carla. I talk on different topics. But the main topic that I talk about is diversity awareness. I'm an Indian Jewish woman in America. This is
Yeah.
not common. I've dealt with a tremendous amount of racism. I've dealt with a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism. So companies, the military, through the Job Corps program, universities have brought me in to give talks. I speak in churches, synagogues, and it's to have this powerful conversation. If you're going to be a public speaker, here's 5 things you can do. Start practicing now. People ask me this in DM, and I send them messages.
Yeah.
Are you practicing? Are you prepared? Be prepared for the unexpected. I walked into places where technology, everything I thought was going to be there, was not available.
Yes.
So because I have a PowerPoint that goes with my talk, and I've brought in dancers with talks, and the venue, like the sound didn't work, but we made it work. So just expect the unexpected. Don't think it's gonna go perfectly. Take your time. Leave time for Q&A. This is what I'll say. You have control over what you're saying in the talk, right?
Yes. Yes.
You do not have control over the Q&A part.
True.
Be prepared for that. I've had 2 questions in 15 years that I was stumped. One of them was in a university, and I said to my friend was the professor, and I was speaking in her class, and I said to the student, I'll get back to you. And I did. The next day, I emailed the professor and said here's the answer to her question. It was a very powerful question she asked. It was she was 18 years old, and she asked an extremely powerful question. So I said, back to you. And if you don't know the answer, be honest. Just say,
Yes.
I don't know the answer. Don't try to sell something that you don't know.
Yes, yes. It happened to me also. I don't have, of course, your experience. Maybe I have like 1 year of experience or something of going live and talking, and it happened to me.
I think
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about, some technical errors and
So be ready.
yeah, it happened to me, and I was also honest, like you said. I don't know. I'll come back to you, and it's what's important is that you really come back to him. Don't forget. So I made my research, and I just told him this is my answer, and he was grateful that I took time and made my research, and I answered.
Yeah, it's the best way. So you're better if you're standing from get there early. People have anxiety that you're going to show up. It's a huge concern. So I always get there early and prepare. I set up. I run all the tech stuff to make sure that it's working. Make your your host or the person that's bringing you in feel better. If you have to wait for them, it's fine, but you showed up and you're there. And
Yes.
yes, follow up. I always write a thank you, like the day after, and say, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for bringing me in. Follow up and say that you're appreciative that they brought you in.
Yeah, that's great. Be grateful that they brought you in, and show your concern, and that you're happy that you've been there. I totally agree with you. We have Majid also sending his regards, and Carla sending her love, and Taib G is sending hello everyone. Taib, thank you for coming in. Carla's saying any talks I do from now I begin with Q&A.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Yes. And Vereen is saying this is incredible, Rachel. I agree. Only through gratitude one find the true happiness.
I agree with you, sister.
That's true. That's true, Vereen. So tell us about your journey on LinkedIn. When did this start, and how long did it take you to reach like 200,000 followers plus? And what do you think about the platform? And tell us about your journey on LinkedIn.
So I would say the next 2 years is when I became fully involved as I am now. I try to teach UC because I drop them to you every Monday. I'm trying to give people tips on how to succeed on this platform.
Yeah.
Because I want my network I want them to grow. I want us to grow together as a family. And so I'm giving these tips saying, hey, if you do A, B, C, D, and E, you're going to succeed.
Yes.
And what people are missing is that this is a family. You and I both know it. These are real. Yes. I wake up in the morning and I'll say good morning to every. I'm like, good morning, sister. How are you today? This is a family, and that's what people are missing. And so the most crucial, no matter. Oh, she always has deep thoughts. I love her deep thoughts.
Yes.
So it's important. It's important to get out there and support others. That's the mistake people make. They need to go from being selfish to selfless. The selfless behavior is going to open the door for them. They're going to have a successful career on LinkedIn if they choose that path. It's giving, giving, giving. There are so many takers, and we don't need any more takers on this platform. That's what comes.
You're right. You're right. It's giving endlessly, I say, and you will receive. You will definitely receive. But give, 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 and don't think about it, and you will find yourself receiving. And I experienced this so many times. Not even on social media, on life in general.
Yeah, you want to know this mistake I made people make? Do you want to know what it is?
Yes, please.
They do not give back to their networks. So I have core days. I post Monday through Friday, and then I spend Saturday and Sunday. I'll spend some time in the morning, and that's giving back to my network. You have to give back to your network. That is really, really important. Your network is there supporting you, so you need to go around and support them. That's what it's about. And that's really important.
It's true. It's true. You have to support them by comment, by engaging, by collaboration, like what we're doing now.
And you're going to be in my show. I'm so excited. I filmed you this week.
Yes. I'm so happy, of course, to be on your show. It's an honor, and it's an honor that you're here with us, of course, and everybody's is happy.
Oh, okay.
Carla saying my talks are still small group based. One day this info you're presenting today would be very helpful if the time comes to do big audience presentations. Carla, we wish you all the best. Carla, of course, Carla's very experienced and all about the brain function, and she spent years studying the brain and how the brain functions and all that. She's amazing.
Oh.
If you're not connected, I really advise Carla to follow or connect with Rachel Beck.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite subjects. So.
Yeah. She's amazing. Tayyip G is saying happiness is inside as how we satisfy what you have.
I create my own happiness and I grew them. It works from the inside out. I've had enough. I'll be honest with you. I've had enough pain in my life to last me forever. I've had enough sadness and trauma to last me the rest of my life. That's the truth. That's the truth. And I haven't even shared some of those stories yet. I will when I'm ready. I'm getting ready to share one. But I have enough trauma to last me the rest of my life. That's the truth. So I make a choice every day to get up and be happy because I've already suffered enough in my life.
That's true. We have to be positive and be happy, whatever happening in the world. We have blessings around us that can make us happy. We just sometimes we focus on like the missing part of the cup or the empty part of the cup, not the full part. So tell us about your new book. What's the subject? Is it still same? You're talking about your story also, or is something different subject?
I'm diving deeper into it.
Yeah.
When I wrote the book, a lot of things happened after the book. Some really serious things. So it's a continuation of that. A lot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing what happened when I finished the book. So yeah.
We're all waiting. Are you expected to complete during 2021?
We'll see how it goes. I'll be back. Right. This is what I did this year, man. I'll be honest with you. Okay. So
Yeah.
when this pandemic hit, right, I made a deep conscious choice last March. I woke up and said, okay, I'm going to get my network through this pandemic. I haven't left them any day. And I made
Yeah.
that choice. I made the choice to do the interviews that I'm doing because I want to highlight the people in my network and I want to humanize social media. So I'm trying to get my network right now through this pandemic. I feel like it's really important. I know what's going on with them. They write me messages. I don't want them to feel alone. When it slows down, the world opens up again and things, change. I'll take like a weekend off, but I've haven't, taken a day off since the pandemic started. I don't want them to feel alone.
You deserve, and it's really a great mission that you are
We can
helping
do
people. And yes,
it. I mean,
people need help, and that's why like I started, and in the introduction I said everybody really loves and respects Rachel Beck on LinkedIn because you're doing so much for people, and you're doing it deep from your heart. It's not like something. Yes, really, we're all grateful to have you in our network.
I feel great. I'm grateful too. I tell my network every Friday when I close out for the week before, I always say thank you. And I'm grateful and I'm appreciative because I want them to know that every week. We have a choice, Ahmed. Here's what it comes down to. Like, I've already had a huge problem with entitlement, right? And then the pandemic started. And what happened was I saw entitlement go way up. So I'm trying to get that to go back down and
Yeah.
say that this is not the path. Everybody needs help right now. Everybody can do something during this pandemic to help each other out. They can do it. They just have to want to do it.
Yes. They just have to feel like it and just do it. Everyone can help really, even with a small message, with sharing knowledge and experience. I didn't know that, but when I got to be active here, like less than a year now, but really I felt that my importance, and I felt that I can have an impact and that I can influence people's life, which is really a great feeling that you can help people around and help them to feel better about themselves.
And you're doing it. I mean, you're
Yes,
succeeding. You're doing it. You're
yes,
doing
yes,
it every day. So imagine now. I mean, imagine, right? If every single person on LinkedIn did their job, did something to help in the middle of this pandemic, do you know what would happen? It'd be huge.
yes. It will be a huge impact, and for sure, less people will have problems in their mental health and all that. I totally agree with you. Rachel, what's your final message to all our audience and all the people on LinkedIn before we go?
I'm just gonna say this: you're not alone. and I are here, and so is everybody else on this platform. And that is the message I get a lot is, Rachel, I'm alone. And I immediately write back to them and say, you're not alone. Take the time to go through the comment section. Please stop racing. There are people that are reaching out for help. And I don't mean small help. They're looking for huge help. They just need a sentence to say, I see you, I hear you, and I'm with you. That is what they need right now. So that's the message. Take the time. Look for those one line sentences where people are reaching.
Yeah, that's a great message. And Beth here is sending her love and saying mental health we must always tackle. Great message, Beth. Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yes.
Working on it, Jim.
Really, we're working on it. I think both of us, of course, you are doing more effort. I know, but
Passionate, man. I'm
yes,
passionate.
yes,
You know, I have PTSD, and I'm
yeah,
not ashamed that I have PTSD. I don't wish anybody to have it for the reasons that I was diagnosed with it. That's the story I haven't, shared yet. So yeah, I'm gonna. Hi Beth. And so yeah, I'm very passionate about it. People are still. There shouldn't be a stigma in 2021. I'm not ashamed to have PTSD. I will use my voice to end the mental health stigma. We're gonna do it together. There's a bunch of us.
yes,
Yeah. Thank you.
yes. Yes, I agree. And of course, we are all in this together and we're all going to pass this together. The only constant is change. And things will get back to normal. Maybe it will take some time, but it will get back to normal with people like you and people like all of us. I think going out and speaking about it and helping other and sharing each other, giving each other strength to pass it.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Rachel, and thank you for everybody who joined us today. I hope that this brought a lot of useful information to you. And of course, Rachel, we're so happy to have you on the show anytime. And please.
Thank you, because Ahmad is coming on the show, and you got to hear this conversation we had. And we're going to be serious together because we had a very powerful conversation this week. So.
Yes, it was amazing, of course, to come on your show, and we're open to always for collaboration. And it's your show. I say that Think Big and Be Inspired is a show to inspire all people with sharing their stories and experiences. And of course, you are welcomed anytime to visit the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Carla, before you go, saying let's work together and collaborate. Yes, Carla, that's the message that we want to give to everybody. Let's collaborate to pass through this safely. Yes. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, everybody.
I hope everybody has a good day or night, wherever you are.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.